Welcome to Significance Breeds Success. Today, I have somebody who is going to add a ton of value to your life. Andy Robbins is based in Portland, Oregon. My parents live in Coos Bay. We were just talking about that. And I'm really excited to have you on here because I want to understand your world a little bit more. What you're doing as a founding partner, how you started building your companies, you're into your certified coach. I want to know, how do you actually, maybe where you could start when you're like zero, right? And how did you go from you and really create and design a rock star life and support growth in other people's lives and change the world?
Well, thank you, Daniel. I say it really is a pleasure to be with you today, and you're doing amazing work in the world and creating terrific impact. So this is a pleasure. Great question. And where did all this start? I mean, to me, I guess it started back in 1990 when I joined a company called Intel. And I was living in the UK, and there was no Intel inside. I had no idea what Intel was. And it's one of life's lucky coincidences that I happened to join Intel as it was going through just a massive growth phase under amazing leadership. Andy Grove, just an incredible leader. And that really opened up for me an opportunity which was exciting. I was super ambitious. I looked at it that time that the only reason you join a company is to get to the top. So there I was, setting out, and Intel just took everything that I basically had to give it. And it was great. It was growing super fast, really, really exciting time. And, as I was progressing in my career, I would say probably for the first 15 years, I was really wrestling with this question of, so what's leadership? I remember having a performance review during that time, and I was really excited. I'm ambitious. I wanted to get promoted. And my boss says, no, you're not going to get promoted because you need to be more leader-like. And I was like, so what does that mean? And I didn't get a good answer. And, and I would stumble across a whole bunch of things. I'd find this great book, and it would be like, wow, this is what it's about. And then I'd try it, and I'd find the next book. And my career was doing pretty well, but some ups and downs. And then I was really lucky that I managed to get a coach through Intel. They were exploring coaching and providing coaching for high potential leaders, which I was at that time, fortunately. And that coincided with, I would say, me reaching the limit of my leadership capability. So overnight, I went from the leader who could do no wrong, to the leader who could do no right, which was, I got to say, a bit of a shock and very humbling. And Scott, my coach, really helped me at that point learn what leadership was about. And that's when the journey started. So it was pretty exciting. I managed to regain my credibility in the company. And then I really started to get exciting results and progressing really well. And I decided that I wanted to give back at Intel and follow in Scott's footsteps. So I got certified as a coach, and I went deeper and deeper on another program that Scott had been on with a gentleman called Bob Dunham out of Boulder. It's something called the Institute of Generative Leadership. And Bob really, really taught me what leadership was all about and how to do it. So then I started to give back at Intel. My career's taken off, but what I found was, as I started to get to those levels in the company that I'd always aspired to, I started to find out that really wasn't what excited me. What excited me was sitting down across the table like this with a leader and really helping them maximize their performance, get the results they really wanted, change the way they saw the world, and be able to get results without just resorting to working harder, without trying to control everybody, but creating an environment that generally gets terrific results that people enjoy. And people started liking working for me as well. So it was like, this really works. So that really became my passion. And then in 2016, I made the decision to give up my Intel career and start a new career forming a company called Oyster and getting involved in some angel investing, really helping entrepreneurs develop their companies, and that passion around leadership development sort of growing again there. And that's where I've been for the past 4 years. And now I get to help leaders in healthcare, professional services, in not-for-profits. And I've got to be honest, I'm blessed because I get to work with amazing leaders every day, and I see them achieve amazing results that they didn't think was possible. So I'm a very lucky guy, I've got to say. Life has treated me very well.
So you were part of the diversity inclusion. Your title is IT Diversity Inclusion Champion at Intel.
Yeah.
So diversity and inclusion is such a big topic right now.
It certainly is.
And what I see, because I own some private schools with my partners, and what I see is that it's so needed. We do it. We teach it. Not only do we teach the content, but we help kids understand the context of the human being side, the way of being that they want to show up within the environments that serve their bigger purpose.
Great.
Because I find that people do things for one of two reasons, whether purpose or profit. As a leader, you can do something for purpose and profit, or profit and purpose, but there's always, I believe, a lead in one of those things that you put before the other.
Yes, totally.
So tell me, I mean, you're in the hub right now of Portland, Oregon. Like, you guys got some crazy riot stuff going on right now. So tell me, what are like 2 tips? Could be 1, could be 3, whatever, that we could put within law enforcement, maybe communities, education, whatever it is, to add more value and show people how we could create inclusion and diversity? Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing I learned was from a gentleman called David Rock, who is a psychologist. And what David said was, if you have a brain, you're biased. Now, until that moment, if you'd have said to me, hey, Andy, you're biased, I would have taken offense. I would have said, no, I'm not. I'm not biased. And that was a huge shift for me, to recognize that we're all biased, because we experience so many things every day that we have to make sense of them and have patterns to interpret them. If we didn't, every moment of the day would just be crazy. It'd be like, what's going on? So I realized that, yes, I am biased, and some of those biases are unconscious. So for me, I think the thing is, A, recognizing that, and then being open to others' feedback. So one of the big things that I coach people, I would start off by saying, hey, Daniel, how do you want to show up to others? And you're like, well, I want to be successful. I want to be caring. I want to be empathetic. And then I would go and interview people that you work with. And I say, so how do you see Daniel? And they may say those things. They may say something different. And what it illustrates is how we think we come over is different than how others actually see us. So self-awareness and getting feedback is really important. And I think this all plays into this sort of theme of diversity, in terms of us showing up and being seen by others how we want to show up, and being open to change, and being open to getting that feedback, and being willing to make a change. What I find with my clients is, I say to them, okay, this is how other people see you. Is that how you want to be seen? And if it's not, we can then work on changing. So that's probably the best advice that I have in that area.
So I find that you do that very well when you're speaking. And I've seen some other organizations, it's more of like a finger pointing
Sure.
internally versus a, hey, let's get a, like, I've heard the word implicit bias a lot.
Yeah.
And I just talked about it today with a group of my kids for the summer school program. Is I said there's a difference between racist and implicit bias. And the racism is actually the study of a race.
Mm-hmm.
Racist is hating an individual group.
Yeah.
Implicit bias we all have.
Exactly.
Based upon I'm 6'2", my fiance is 5 foot, right? We can see different things, different ways. She's Portuguese, Cuban, Black. I am more European. So I think it's really interesting on what you're talking about right now, because most people go, no, you did this or you did that, versus, hey, here's my viewpoint. And it's just a suggestion to get you, like what you said, how do you want to be looked at?
Right. Yeah.
So the one thing I did today is the kids were talking about what they wanted. And I said, what do you want on your tombstone?
Great. Yeah.
And it got there, and the kid was like something like, I want to, I want to be like, he rocked life or something like that. And I'm like, hold on, but is that vision driven, like what you want other people to think, or do you really want to be purpose driven? Like like you impacted people's lives. Like, do you want to be known for just being good at something? Yeah. And so he looked at it, he goes, I want to be known for inspiring people. And I was like, awesome. Now we're getting down to the root. You can build from there.
I love it.
Do you work? I mean, obviously you're a coach, right? You're a rock star. So do you dive deep into like really what humans want to create? And when you do that, and you get a person that has a very powerful ego that pushes back, how do you help them see a different perspective?
Yeah. So, I mean, to your question, do I work with clients on that? Yeah. And it often comes back to the why. So people want to show up in a certain way, but when you start to ask why, then we start to uncover what's really going on, what's important to them. And oftentimes we haven't thought about it. I look at myself and I remember sort of midway through my Intel career, I actually started to believe that I could be CIO of Intel. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And then I said to somebody in a one-on-one, I said, hey, I really want to be CIO. And they said, why? And I couldn't give them an answer. And it was like, wow, well, isn't that telling? So that's, I think, something that's really important, is to help people understand the why. And I look at my career. I mean, I said when I started out, I wanted to be at the top. But when I really started to figure out that my why was helping others rather than doing what I thought I was supposed to do, I thought I was supposed to be this big leader. I was supposed to be really successful. That was a big shift. So that's one of the things that I think, working with clients and not going in with a preconception of how this person wants to show up.
I think that's really powerful. Let me pop back a little bit. You said when you were in a performance review at one point, you wanted a bump up, and they said you're not a good leader, or something to that.
I needed to be more leader-like.
More leader-like. And you asked them, well, what is that?
Yeah.
And they couldn't answer. When we do performance reviews in our company, we tell people maybe what they can improve on, but we give them some ideas and some ways that they can do it versus just saying, you're not this.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you think about that on performance reviewers just telling you what you're maybe not good at or lacking, versus maybe saying you're lacking this, but here are 3 ways you can do it, and here's maybe a coach or mentor to be able to help you get there?
Yeah. Great. So I really believe it's super important to, first of all, focus on outcomes in terms of what do you want to create, what results, how do you want to show up, as it were. But oftentimes that's where we stop. To me, the real question is, and what does that look like, and what does it not look like? What does success look like? How would I describe that? And one